it's Laurel. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to finally be reacting to Junhee's Love Method album. Now, I wanted to wait a little bit longer because I was hoping that he's going to release some more videos, but I've decided that I can no longer wait. So we're going to get right into this, and I will do each song as a separate video, and there'll be a playlist in the description box for you guys to go to the next reaction. I have already reacted to La 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 Loon and Get Out, so I will not be reacting to those in this particular one, but they'll still be linked in the playlist. So let's go ahead and get right into this. This is a 5-star. I did bring up the lyrics on a separate page because I like to look at them like on the screen rather than like in the captions. I think it's just easier to follow along. So let's go ahead and get right into this. Ooh, I like the introduction. This electronic feel is something that's really going on here. Ooh. Nice. Ooh. Nice harmonization coming in. Ooh, I love that run on everything now. Okay, adding more. Ooh, nice run. Oh, I like that. Ooh, very nice up in his head voice. I like how everything's a little bit bigger here. Sometimes we forget the things we love the most, so why don't we wake up to all the moments, the beautiful moments. Ooh, nice. I love that. Oh, a pull away this time. Ooh, I like that harmonization. A little bit building in the percussion. Nice. Ooh, that was really nice. Pull away. And kind of like anticipatory pause. Nice. Hold my breath and say now. Oh, 5-star, 5-star, 5-star moments with you. Nice. Nice ad-libs. A little outro. Pretty. Nice way to show off his voice. Oh, nice. And then I think right after this is La 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 Loon. Let me look at the list here. Yeah. Oh, I can see how those like go together so easily. Very, very nice. Okay, something that I really love about what Junhee has been doing with this album so far, from what I've seen from these 3 songs, is the way that he's incorporating harmonization. I think that this is really interesting in the way that he's doing it, along with like the electronic sounds that are underneath. So far, I can understand why they're all on the same album. They really feel like connected in a way, and so I love how he did this with them. Just going back to the very beginning, I really like how in this first verse there's not a lot of instrumentation. It's mostly Junhee's voice, just with a little bit of backing, not a lot, and then adding a harmonization in every once in a while, because as the song goes, the harmonization and instrumental get to be a lot thicker. There's more texture going on. And so I think it's really nice, like in this first verse, it's really preparatory and like makes you think, okay, and what's going to come next? The anticipation is there. I think that's really smart. The pre-chorus, I love how this is the place where we start to grow. So, especially the little parts towards the end of the phrase where there's a little harmonization, because what's interesting in the fact that that happens is when we get into the chorus, the first word of the line, first, love, next, has that harmonization on it. And as we go through further and further, we get more and more based on that. So I think that was a really interesting choice, because in that pre-chorus, having the second half with the harmonization versus the first half is a different feeling. And so I thought that was really nice. And especially as we're getting through this chorus, so much done in his head voice. I really love for this album, he's taking like different kind of risks as far as like his runs, his ad-libs, what he's doing. I really feel like he's showing off his voice, which he did in All Day and All Night, but in a different way. It was one of those things where like it's interesting to look at both of the albums, like so far from what I know of the two albums, and see the difference in like the tone and what he's trying to say within the album. And I think that's really clear between the two of them. And I think that's also a really smart way to kind of go into it. As we're going into verse 2, everything seems bigger. So when we started the song in verse 1, it was very quiet, not a lot going on in the instrumentation. Well, verse 2 definitely expounds on that, and it gets bigger, right? So I think that's really smart. You definitely feel like it going into the climax of the song. The building and the percussion in the pre-chorus was really nice. We had a little bit more of a pull away in this pre-chorus versus the first pre-chorus, I think, in that instrumentation, just to get you to focus a little bit more on those secondary harmonization. And then in the chorus, I love that kind of anticipatory pause that we have right at the beginning of the chorus. On the first, there was a little pause and then it kept going, which I love how you have these little tiny changes within that, because it just makes it so much more interesting to listen to as a listener, right? Then we get into the bridge. This was where we had a different kind of instrumental feel, but it really was one of those things where we had a different like kind of feel in the percussion, but it still made sense, especially with the more vocal focus on it. We had that electronic kind of pulsing underneath. It's kind of been, you know, throughout all of these songs, pretty like, not, I don't want to say similar, but they've been, you can tell why they come on the same album, right? So it still had that same feeling. And then when we get to the 5-star moments with you, it had this really piercing sound. It was just so beautiful the way that he cut through the music in that. And then I love the chorus, the ending chorus, the ad-libs and everything going into that. It just felt real, like kind of like the layers have finally come to the climax, right? Which was really nice. And then the outro, I mean, come on, all of those ad-libs, so incredible. Again, showing off his voice in an incredible way. So I really, really enjoyed this song. What I do when my album reviews is I always take all of the songs that I know and I try to rank them based on how I feel about them so far. So right now in first place is going to be La 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 Loon. I'm going to write this down so I don't forget it. And then next, I think right now is 5 stars, and then Get Out. So I'm really curious to see how this is going to change, and I'm curious like what your guys' favorites are so far within this. Tell me your thoughts down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What was your favorite part of the song? For me, like I said, I really love those moments of harmonization and how they happen at different parts within it, but it's kind of almost like, I love that, like I said, in the pre-chorus, I love how it's towards the end of the phrase and the chorus at the beginning. I think it gives a really fun texture and interesting, like, anticipatory feeling to it. So I enjoyed that so much, and I love how you could tell it's going to lead into La 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 Loon. So tell me your thoughts down below. Like I said, I'll have the rest linked down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye!